It's the end of the season, and you know what that means. Playoff time, baby, because we have 10 teams that started the season with the same dream. Make it to Masters Tokyo, make it to Champions Los Angeles, and now that dream can become a reality. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the kickoff of VCT Americas playoffs. Of course, we're coming at you live right here in the Riot Games studio. I'm that old bald guy, Golden Boy, joined by my youthful friend Mimi and the dad, Balla. Welcome, Balla. It's a good thing to have you here, buddy. How you feeling?
Yeah, finally. It feels good. I haven't been on the desk in a while. I've just been casting the games, and we had such a ridiculous season that I can't wait for playoffs because now we're actually going to Tokyo. Now we're actually sending teams to champions. Yeah. It's all finally here.
It's finally happening.
It's moving so quickly, too. It's like tomorrow we're already going to know some of the teams going to Tokyo for Americas. It's just been so fast-paced.
Yeah, we have really been treated to some awesome, incredible matches over the course of these last 8 weeks. You know, and here's the thing. Before we get into the tournament, let's go ahead and take a look back at our first season and dish out some superlatives, right? Well, I don't know what that word is. They made it up.
It's a real
is
word.
it a word? Is it a real word?
This is like when you went to, what, like the yearbook thing?
Do you remember when
This is called...
It was a while ago, right?
Okay, so this is basically the yearbook, all right? And for those who don't know, who need to bust out a dictionary to understand what superlatives means, but it's okay, because we got you covered. Because first up, it's a Class Clown Award, my personal favorite. This one, it's going to go to Zelsis. That's right. Let's go ahead and bring it up. There's our class clown. There he is.
He has
the
gotten
winner.
Too silly throughout the season.
Has he now?
Yes, he has done quite a few silly things. He's the guy always keeping the vibes up for
Surely
fun.
we're not showing every
just
silly thing.
No,
he's done.
not
No.
I just wanted to double check that.
I mean, you got to careful with these clips. I mean, but yeah, he's just constantly yelling, constantly saying, I don't know how many times I've seen MCE, the coach of Cloud9, be like, we got to release these comms because there's some things said in here that everybody needs to hear. And I'm pretty sure it's Elsa's.
I feel like no one else competes with him, honestly, at that level. He's just the vibes guy. He's the silly, funny, haha guy.
Maybe an
Cloud9.
artist.
Yeah,
Oh, artist actually.
Pretty silly and funny.
But that's a different award, probably for most expletives. Anyway, moving on though, we have our Best Couple Award, and this one, it's gonna go to Ay Que Lindo. It's gonna go to Crashies and Victor. Oh, but honestly, when you think of a duo, Mimi, in Valorant, you think of two players that bring it every single time, it's these guys right
They're
here.
so cute. They've been together since Envy. They've always been competing. They're winning the clutches together. They're supporting their team together. It's just nice to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like trying to think of duos that like would fit in this category, and I think like Cryo and Second, but they're not even on the same team anymore. Like
Zeppelin Leaf maybe could have been another competitor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, there it is. Those are your winners. Crashies, Victor, congratulations, cute couple. All right, next up, a personal, well, actually, no, the next category, as a matter of fact, the biggest glow up. This one's gonna go to Evil Geniuses. That's right, they deserve it. Because, Balla, the way people were talking about this team at the beginning of the season, you would think that hell has just consumed this team, and it's all going bad.
It was so harsh for this team at the beginning. It was so harsh. Even, like, throughout the middle of the season when they got 13-0 from Loud, it was harsh. But then they made it all the way here. Maybe not of their own accord, but they did make it all the way to playoffs, and I think people are finally respecting them.
Yeah, they really are. I think the only other team that would be close on having a similar comeback would have been NRG, but really for EG, it went from like the depths of the league, everyone predicting them at 10th place, to now being in the top 6 and having a chance in playoffs.
That's awesome. It's good stuff there. Congratulations, EG. All right, next up, this is my personal favorite category, Best Drip. That's right, and it is going to go to Digizin and Takolia because let's be honest here, but we really couldn't pick what would have been the actual winner because they both show up fresh to death every single time, Balla. As a fashion connoisseur, your thoughts?
Dude, I always like
guy.
just whenever I see the Furia guys walk in, I just see them like dancing. They have a boombox like it's the hood, like they're ready to go crazy. They're just vibing and Digizin just
rolling up the 149th Street Brook Avenue. My boys got his boombox down. I respect that. I respect that.
The amount of change that Digizin has should just straight up win him the award. Like, this guy has better chain game than anyone else.
Yeah, hands down, best chains. We should have made a whole award for that one. A missed opportunity, honestly, maybe next season. All right, next up, our next category is the biggest brain. And let's see who ends up winning this one. It's going to be Sadak gets biggest brain. Ooh, I know some NRG fans who will be quite conflicted with that one. Why you think he deserves biggest brain here, Mimi?
Because he's been able to perform at the top top so consistently and
Totally
bring new
agree.
players into the fold constantly, coming in with Tui's and Kawanzine, almost winning lock-in, coming to Americas, running nearly undefeated into the playoffs, looking like a favorite to win it all. He's just had such incredible consistency as an IGL.
And he had the best strategy of all. Lose a map every single game so you get as most match experience as possible.
Right. Ready to go, right? you know what, though? It's crazy. He's not the biggest brain.
Who is?
What?
Are you going to say like finesse or
Finesse?
something?
You're looking at him.
No.
That's right,
Simply no.
because
The big
let's
head.
go ahead and show the prediction board, baby!
Oh, no.
73% prediction rating accuracy.
That's just not real.
If any person at any point in time ever wants to go and say Golden Boy doesn't know anything about Valorant, I'm just going to show them that right there. I'm like, jeez.
That actually pains me. I like how you're just surprised in the picture, too. You're just like,
He
how
never
did I do
expected
this?
that.
I live my life in a constant state of surprise.
I'm actually impressed. It's hard to do that over
It
the
is.
entire season, but it's because of your big head, not the big brain.
That actually is
Yes.
very true. It is a scientific fact. Depending on the size of your cranium, that dictates the size of your brain. It's not an
That's why
intelligence thing,
elephants
trust
are
me.
so smart.
Exactly. Well,
Did you just call him an elephant?
let's go ahead and talk about this tournament and, of course, our bracket. Now, just an important note here, it is a double elimination bracket, and our top 2 seeds have only need to win 1 match in order to qualify for Masters as well as champions. So a real double whammy for Loud and for Cloud9. And it really, I mean, these first few matches, you're right there, Mimi, right there to Tokyo.
Yeah, and the stories in the first few games are fantastic as well. It's instantly a rematch of NRG and EG, the 2 teams that we were talking about as the most improved. And on the other side, it's Leviatán and Furia, 2 teams that we had in the top 4 at the beginning of the league, but that have definitely fallen down the ratings and are both looking to recoup in playoffs.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, I think of the Leviatán Furia game as the turning point for kind of both of those teams, even though it ends up going the opposite direction. But yeah, both of these games today, all the games we could have had would have been rematches, but I think these 2 games are remarkable in the fact that they are memorable back in the regular season. The NRG EG game was the last one we saw, and the Furia Leviatán game was the biggest upset that Furia was able to actually get.
Yeah. These games are going to be intense today, and I'm really excited about it. And honestly, I have no idea how this bracket is even going to play out. Good news is, we actually have a bracketology scientist who is going to help us break it all down, because we have a fresh edition of bracketology. That's right. Let's send it over to Brendan's Sideshow for some bracketology. Boys, why don't you go ahead and tell us how this whole thing's going to shake out? You only got a few minutes.
Every time we do this bit, you add a timer or some other ridiculous twist, and I'm changing it. I'm taking over this bit now. It's the bracketology. I'm done. Listen, I've charged and tasked my assistant this time with it, and guess what? He's doing it on rollerblades. I put rollerblades on him. Context? You want context for why? No, you're not getting it. Josh?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
You got this?
Yep, I've got this.
Build a bracket. Build a perfect bracket. Build a perfect bracket.
Okay.
Build a perfect bracket. The team's around the corner.
The team. I have to go over
No,
here.
I got you. No, okay.
Oh,
Which one you?
give me a team. What's the match?
Lev Furia.
Lev Furia.
Who's winning
Okay.
Lev Furia today?
think-
First one.
I think
Lev.
Furia are winning this one. Wait, where do I put it?
Just here.
You
Put it there.
fix it.
I
I'm
want
getting
okay.
You fix it.
It's your bracket.
Yeah,
I'm the assistant this time.
I'm giving you the right team.
Okay.
Okay, this time, what's the next one?
Give me
Cloud9 against EG?
No. What?
Oh yeah, Cloud9 are winning that one.
They're just winning that.
Yep. I picked
But
up
they go
Cloud9 by
there.
accident. I mean, I'm not going back for it. All right. NRG though. Oh, actually, that NRG Cloud9 match should be about. Get out my way.
Sorry.
All
Sorry.
right.
I've messed up the tape.
I'm all good.
Okay.
NRG are going up against Cloud9 in that game.
Yep.
And that's going to be a good one.
Yep.
What's the... Give me another.
Wait, you just put NRG there. The loser
Leviatán.
match. Lev in the loser match.
All right, okay. So Leviatán, put them down there.
Okay,
Put
I don't know
EG
where
down
to
there
go.
as well.
Loser. M1 loser.
Okay.
Okay.
Put them down there as well, because NRG are winning that game. And I think Loud progress, okay? Loud are going to progress. I don't know why you
Okay.
got Cloud9 up there. But yeah, that'll do. You've taken all the sticky off Cloud9.
No, I haven't.
All right, well,
That's your fault.
yeah. All right, give me another team to go and collect.
M3. God, it's so much easier when the computers do this automatically.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Right.
Where's the third?
Well, I'm getting almightily trolled.
No, Furia.
I've run out of Furia.
We've run out of teams?
Okay, this Furia one. All right, so Furia gets knocked down.
Down here?
Yeah, down there.
Furia EG.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to put him there. Yeah, push me back over there.
Okay. Yep.
I don't.
Okay. We've run out of teams.
So what's the next one?
Okay, so what is the next one?
Okay, so Leviatán would end up playing against
M4 loser,
Right.
which is
loser
you've got as
M4, which
NRG.
is NRG. Okay, NRG are probably winning that game anyway. I think I
why
messed
did
up
you
with
put
that one.
Cloud9 there?
Well, I don't know. All right, so let's put NRG.
Yep.
Let me turn to face the camera.
Yes.
It's just better etiquette, isn't it? So let's have NRG move forward.
They
And in
move
fact,
forwards.
NRG are beating everybody in the lower bracket anyway, so you can just put no. NRG down here.
Wait, what?
NRG are beating everybody in the lower bracket.
Okay.
But first they beat Leviatán, and then they're going to beat EG. I've got EG going on a bit of a run.
EG go forwards here.
Yeah, I think EG are going to end up going up twice against NRG. You know?
Okay, and then they lose both times?
Yeah, they lose both times.
They lose both times, okay.
And then what does that set us up with for a grand final?
Well, it's NRG versus...
Okay, so who wins this game?
Who wins that? It's you.
Right.
It's your
yeah,
bracket.
it's my bracket, isn't it? I've got Loud winning that game again, like they did in the regular season.
Okay, so
Cloud9 drop
NRG.
down here. I think NRG win the rematch. They're through to here.
Loud versus NRG.
And we get an all-star Loud NRG banger. Peace.
But back to the desk or the break, I don't know.
Oh, fun fact, actually, Sideshow never wore a pair of rollerblades before. You know, what a guy. Just absolutely.
He's just a fast learner.
He's just a fast learner. He's so talented.
He's skilled. But I need context, Bren. Why is he on roller skates? I don't understand.
We'll never have the context. He's never going to give us the context.
Surely that can't be like a safe workplace. Bracketology is a very dangerous field.
Hey, man, if you want to be a bracketologist, you know, you got to get ready to sacrifice it all. In any case, don't know what that means. We want to, of course, see your brackets, because surely it turns out better than Brennan's Sideshow.
I feel like they actually made a good
Actually, it did,
I
but
kinda
it was
agree.
how we got there. Of course, find out, though, who you think is going to make that top three. Use the hashtag VCT Americas and VCT. We'll feature you on the broadcast, okay? So make sure you get out there and tweet and have a good time with that one. But we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into our first playoff match of the day. It's going to be Furia taking on Leviatán. Don't worry, folks. I'll see you on the other side.
I heard Wilkinson's actually still skating around the studio. Never got that.
What? The big out and gets the ace here for Furia. He's in a great spot to land two with the Marshall.
Welcome back to VCT Americas, and it's time to dive into our first match of the playoffs. It's, of course, Furia taking on Leviatán here. And, you know, I mean, these are two teams that they have met previously already. They have had quite the journey up until this point, Mimi. And I think now is where we start to really see what these teams are made of. Do or die here.
Last time these teams met, very early in the season, it was still the expectation that these were some of the absolute top squads in the league. People were thinking they're going to go to the top 4. People were predicting that, hey, maybe Furia could be the best team in the league because they were looking incredible in this matchup. It was 3 crazy maps all the way through where Furia closed out with an insane comeback with Khalil looking unstoppable, Digizin looking like the best duelist player. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game back really early in the season. What was it, week 2? Week 2.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just the expectations have shifted so much for these teams since that moment that it's kind of like, you know, how many people are asking for that Cloud9 Loud rematch. I want this one too because it happened so early in the season and now both teams have had some struggles in towards the tail end. So this rematch, while it was early on, it changed our expectations. What does it actually look like now?
If that first match was them meeting at their peaks, this is now them both meeting, I think, at some of their low points. Neither of them were able to really pick up a win in these last few weeks. It has been just kind of barely scraping by to get into playoffs. But as we saw from the match, we know what these teams can do. They have the potential to compete as top squads.
And in an interesting situation as well, both of these teams are coming in with low points into the playoffs facing each other.
Yeah.
They're not going up
Someone
against
has to
EG,
turn
who's like, yeah, exactly. Someone's got to turn the ship around somehow, some way. Perhaps so, it could be our first team. We'll talk about Furia here because they lost 3 close games. They were 2 rounds away from winning. They could have been in a very different situation depending on how this season had played out. Things just did not go their way, maybe.
And any of those wins, they could have made it into playoffs on their own accord.
They just
but instead,
needed one.
They lost all 3. And it ended up instead that they made it in not even because of them winning, but because of tiebreakers.
Yeah, it was 4. They were, a 4-way tie at 4 and 5, right? Like, it was crazy down there. That's why we have all the teams, almost all the teams in the lower bracket right now, aside from NRG. Yeah, it wasn't on their own accord. But I do think that both teams kind of showed a little bit of hope, I think, specifically for Furia when you look at their players. Digizin is somebody that we're talking a lot about. In the last couple of weeks, while they had those close losses, he was farming. That guy was insanely good. So there is hope. But looking specifically at this, look at how many of these maps were by 2 points. If they could have turned it around, even against NRG. And NRG has been playing in top form. So I think people are looking at this and looking at the streak that they've had in the last 3 matches and thinking, LLL, that's bad. But I think looking at the quality of their opponents and how close it was, it might not actually be that way.
That NRG game is really the one that stuck with me personally because they played on NRG's 2 best maps in Haven and Bind and played them super close in both of them. I think that was the biggest example of Digizin and MWZera looking like the absolute stars that they are. In the last few weeks, we've seen Furia's style be really quite scrappy. It's not perfectly coordinated. It's not this huge plan that's just like making you smile when you take a look. It's the individuals being enabled to make huge plays. And while they haven't won these games, it has been a quite successful style.
Yeah, I think scrappy is definitely the way that I described them since the beginning of the season, since locking even still. Just because they love to go find
And we know they can shoot.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that does cause them to be a little inconsistent because they love that style so much. But they're also leaning into the creativity. They're also leaning into the structure, able to have like really nice executes and all that. So when you mix those 2 styles together, that's where you end up with a lot of inconsistency in the players, in Digizin, in MWZera. MWZera to me is a guy that only performs really on Haven, and that is definitely a problem for them.
Yeah, and talking about the maps, they're pulling out stuff like that double controller comp on Haven. They were the first team to try the double duelist on Bind. They're really willing to come up with these new strategies that actually on paper work really well. It's just the execution is where you get that scrappiness. And I agree. I think it's in a way their biggest strength and also one of the ways in which these close games keep slipping away.
Yeah, and you're really going to, similar to what we were talking about with Digizin, right? You're going to be leaning on some of these ace players to really help kind of carry a good chunk of that weight. One of those players is MWZera, as a matter of fact. You know, had a pretty big impact, right, in the matches last week. But most importantly, I think MWZera, you can even hear when you talk to his players, his teammates, the impact that he as an individual has on this team. And you're really just hoping for that to just translate into the server a little bit more.
Americas has been like such an incredible like redemption arc almost for MW. He was the star of Brazil in 2021. Really fell off the map for a bit in 2022, wasn't able to make it to the international events, but now returning with Furia, he's been consistently thriving here in Americas. On the Rays, playing on the Initiator, he's been probably the best individual bar Digizin on this team.
Honestly, in that Sentinels game, it looked like Furia was going to roll over. They lost that first map, and then they played Haven, where everybody expected them to do really well. And if it wasn't for MW to show up in some of those rounds that we just watched,
on Haven,
those are the types of things that they might have just slipped away. way. So the fact that they have sparks like MW, like Khalil, like every single player on this team can definitely pop off. I mean, they have like some of the most, like the highest average season high gameplay for this team, which is crazy to think. But that sort of thing missing is what ends up losing the spark, and they just don't have it on some days.
Yeah, and being the guy to get his team back into things is what MW is. When you were talking about what his teammates have to say about him, it's that he's an emotional leader, that he's bringing up the vibes for the squad. Not only is he important in his individual performance, but also for his place in the team.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that plays out, obviously, here. But, Bala, I do know you have a telestrator you want to break down on Haven. What you got?
Yeah, I want to look at the Haven comp specifically because I think it is something that Leviatán has to think of a lot in this because their Vito's fracture, they probably have a chance to maybe float it, but if they don't, they're going to play Haven. And Haven is somewhere where Leviatán is kind of losing their foothold a little bit. So I wanted to look at just a couple of ways that Furia are able to take A control and how really nice it is. So they throw this high tide that you can see cuts across short and also cuts close long where you see it right now on your screen. And that is super, super important because it serves the goal that Omen smoke normally does down here or the jet smoke or whatever that you run out with does. But it also is to purpose because of what you have down short. So Tens was oftentimes getting just completely neutered because he doesn't have anywhere to peek. A lot of times your jet can float and go for a different set of peaks. But they are able to follow it up with a cascade and a flash down short that actually allows them to know where these players are playing. Are they playing aggressive? And they also have so much execution power behind it, especially with this harbor roll that comes through. Dogging following it up, and the Sentinels players were playing so close that they get absolutely destroyed by this in the way that Digizin plays because they have so much control very fast, and you really can't do anything to deny that space. You think about a lot of like the breach executes that happen on Haven, you have to fight for so long over main control. You have to fight so long for a long control before you can go for this execute, whereas the harbor just allows you to have it for free essentially. So then the dash follows up. This execute, you can tell, already took down the Sentinels player. The round is pretty much over, so let's wrap it up and go see a different version of this where NRG, they realize immediately that harbor ult is coming. And by the way, the energy game happened first, so they didn't really know how to react to this, so props to them. But they just fall right off of site. They have the idea to play retake already. And I do want to point out as well, a couple of key things that happened in this. They probably already happened, but I do want to show there's usually a molly coming in from the KJ player and also an orb here. And that will become a factor in this post plant. But there's so much staying power in the execute despite having already used the high tide, despite having already used the dog, the flashes from MW, and all that. Look at the cascade that comes through. Also look at the orb that you have these two players playing, and it actually just got shocked off. He was just having an orb out in the open, so you can play a crazy off angle there from Mazin. But the important part here is how much staying power, how much delay they actually have. As Finesse gets his fault line back up right here, and the aftershock comes in, it's getting denied by two mollies again from QCK. It's getting denied by this high tide that's coming up on your screen again. These sort of things for these A retakes are so crucial to have you be able to follow up off that util. And against this harbor comp, you just don't have that opportunity.
And that's the big point, I think, because when we think about Leviatán, when they play Haven, both these teams love the map. Their style is so built upon playing these set retakes towards the A and C site in like half their rounds, it feels like. And for this squad, in Furia, a lot of their comps almost feel like a counter to that. You can't take advantage of maybe a gap that could exist in these executes because you're always leaning into those structured retakes.
Yeah, and the thing, a big problem for them on Haven, not Furia, but for anybody playing against them, Leviatán in this case, they have that for every single site, right? They have a control strat for B. They have an execute strat for B. They have the delay, the post plant. They have 3 different ways to play the post plant. They can play really aggressive, follow up on the kills that they get. They can fall back and play the mollies. There's so many different variabilities, and it's so hard to play against if you're Leviatán. King has a big problem to play against in this.
Yeah.
And that's where Furia defines their style, because they have all these different set plays, and they have really good ideas of how they want to play the map, but they also can lean into that scrappiness and the individual skill that they also have.
Yeah, I mean, excellent breakdown, and I'm curious to see how this all plays out. And also, you know, Haven comes in, if I'm assuming it, would be shocked if it didn't. But folks, so today, ahead of today's match, we actually did get a chance to speak with Khalil about Furia's ups and downs and what needs to happen today. Let's check it out.
Eu acho que a gente já tem ideia do que a gente tem que melhorar para entrar para os playoffs. Eu acho que, como por exemplo, a ativação. A gente, às vezes, entra muito desligado nos jogos, então é um negócio muito difícil, a gente acaba tomando muito round de besteira. Então, acho que a ativação, ela faz bastante parte. E eu acho que a gente vai bolar algum jeito para entrar mais ativado nos próximos jogos nos playoffs.
You know, interesting that that's what's being said there, right? It's silliness. It was the result of it. I kind of feel the same way, especially when you look at the matches that they had. Yeah, sometimes it wasn't always so close, but for the most part, they were playing all their opponents right neck and neck.
I mean, there's a world where Furia could be coming into the playoffs like 6-3 if it wasn't for those little rounds he was talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's just absolutely bonkers. But let's go ahead, though. We talked a lot about Furia, but let's go ahead and move on and talk about Leviatán, because they started off strong, and we believed coming out of lock-in, I mean, hell, everyone believed, Balla, coming out of lock-in, that Leviatán were the team. Yeah. They were like the super squad, and oh boy, not the case.
The hype that came around this team after lock-in because of the way that they were being talked about in scrims, and also, you know, top 8 performance at lock-in.
It's like a campaign.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And they came into Americas with a pretty strong start. I mean, obviously that loss against Furia was pretty surprising, but I think people were more chopping that up to Furia being good. I think the problem, though, is ever since this clutch, they haven't been the same. They haven't been the same, and people are starting to realize you can just expect the exact thing out of Leviatán every single time, and that's causing them problems throughout the season.
They have been very predictable, and we've heard from players already that so much of this week-by-week league format is that you are looking heavily at your opponent's VODs from the last week, coming in with counter strats, and Leviatán has been consistently exploited in that way to now put them in this position where people's expectations have plummeted around this team.
Yeah, it's really been a rough end to the season. After a good start, hype around them, looking pretty good. I think one of the things was there's a couple players that I think were overperforming, but either way, like 1 in 5 matches, they only beat Crew in the last 5 matches. They've lost their biggest edges, which I think were Haven in a sense coming into this year because they kind of stuck with a very, very similar roster, and those maps were fantastic for them last year. Now they really only have Pearl, and that's an issue for them in the map veto as we get through.
And it's now this question of can they turn that around in time for the playoffs? Because it seems like for a lot of these maps, they need to have a restructure. They need to come up with new ideas. And it kind of poses this question of what is the path forward? Is it continuing the project they've had where it's very heavy on the structure? It's playing set retakes. It's saving when we're in 2-man down situations. It's avoiding risks actively. Or is it trying to move almost towards what Leviatán used to be, like Copenhagen, where they could lean into the scrappiness and really find adaptations in the middle of the game? And to an extent, I feel like they do need that change.
Yeah, I kind of lean on both sides. I think you don't have many of the hero plays because of the way that they're structured, the way that Owner coaches this team, the way that King calls his strats. You kind of rely on a lot of that protocols and, you know, being able to really easily, optimally react to the things that are happening. But to me, with the short amount of time since the regular split, I don't think they really have time to like go for setups for Taco, go for crazy plays on the ecos or anything like that. I think they have to lean into this, and I think it might work in a bracket format where you don't have as much time to prep for each individual opponent. It's day by day you're coming across these matches.
I think the biggest kind of example of how leaning into the structure has hurt them a little bit has been Taco, who's really been struggling in the last few weeks for this team, because I think so much of his role right now is playing into these strats, being the guy who's kind of sacrificial, dashing and taking space. On the defense, setting up on a line, they don't come to his site. Leviatán is always playing retake. It doesn't feel like we're getting the performance out of Taco we expect, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's because the system just isn't really working for him in the same way that other Jets in the league are being set up.
Yeah, I see that point, but also, like, I don't know if you're playing Jet. You're one-tricking Jet on most of these maps. He played one map of Lotus on Raze way back when, but if you're playing Jet, you need to be able to break the structure. That's the hero play that I'm looking for. And it's not coming from, it's not coming from Taco. And I don't think you can do more to set him up as this Leviatán squad. Yeah, sure, you can flash for him to go crazy, but you're kind of leading him to failure in that case, in my mind. I think he needs to go find his own opportunities and find his own confidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of more. I want to see more moments like his opponent on the other side, Digizin, who's really willing to take those gaps, to push up when he sees an opportunity, to call on the fly for someone to flash for him and break that structure. And you can see from some of his tweets that he's just been out there pondering. Like, it's got to weigh on a player to have so many rough matches in a row.
My guy's taking pictures of trees and stuff like that. That's when you know.
Just thinking.
That's when you know. All right, guys. Well, we're running out of time here, so let's get our predictions underway. Who's going to win, Furia and Leviatán? Balla, since you're joining us for the first time, who is it? The Panther?
The Panther.
Oh, the Panther. Furia. That makes sense. It's
Yes.
the Panther.
Yeah.
Furia.
Okay, Mimi, what about you?
I'm in the same boat with Furia. I think stylistically this matchup works for them. I think Digizin is going to harvest today.
I am on the goop. Okay, and I am hoping that Leviatán now find a way to turn around. Don't get me wrong, though. Big fan of Digizin. Please loan me one of your chains one day. I'd be all about that. But outside of that, though, Leviatán, I really, really hope that this is a team that's going to be turning this around.
Switching my pred. This guy's the big brain. This is crazy.
All right, guys. Well, it's time to get this tournament started and find out which teams are going to take their first steps towards glory, toward Masters Tokyo, Champions Los Angeles. Today, it's Furia versus Leviatán and NRG versus Evil Geniuses. VCT Americas playoffs starts right now. This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. This is do or die for a lot of these teams.
It's a culmination. Who's going to be going to Masters?
Quer finalizar esse cara? Vai contra outro!
One enemy remaining.
Who's that? The knives in his hands and 4 kills.
If there's one thing we've learned about VCT Americas, is that there's always a chance.
Ei, Jezi! Mas o Calil, olha ele! Calil!
A double sweep coming across, and Victor! Oh! The trigger discipline to let up the 2 in a spike.
What was that? He's got it down to 1v1. Oh my gosh!
Acho que enfrentar Leviatán pra gente é meio que um clássico, né?
Un equipo que siempre nos ha gustado jugar en contra porque ya nos conocemos bastante.
It's gotten it down to 1v1. Digizin still his blades! The shot, the big through walls!
Y nada, son un equipo muy bueno, con jugadores individualmente. Creo que me atrevo a decir que todos son demasiado buenos.
Halil has enough! He stopped it! Time is not great! He's got it! Halil gets 4!
Riot Games Arena, get ready for the first playoff match of VCT Americas. Começando com QCK, DGzinho, Mazin, MWZera, Kalil e o coach Carlão. Deem as boas-vindas ao 5º colocado do Américas, Fúria!
We got so much to do, I gotta reload. Let me call you tomorrow. I got tests when I'm finished, but I keep it moving. If I step in the process, you gon' run out my time. I need it exclusive. It's like in the top of the mountains where eagles are right. How they find me is higher than ever. You cannot fly, so run me, get down, get minute. I push, I've been on the way. I got no time to look back, and my family gon' need some more cheddar, so let's get it poppin'. Told me to put up a setup, you should not put never been better. You gon' let it count, shit fine. Bumpin', I'm crossing the line, we ready to sign. Yeah, oh, can't get out of my way, this shit no walk up a giant. Yeah, oh, don't want me showing my teeth, might have some blood on my tooth. Yeah, oh, I kinda settle the beef, so Lord forget what I do. I'm at the top, yeah, been at the top of the mountain, I'm higher than never, yeah.
Y ahora, sus adversarios. Bienvenidos a Mazzino, Shy, King, Noswer, Tacolilla y el entrenador Owner. Con ustedes, el 4º equipo de Américas, Leviatán.
And here we go, everyone. to the playoffs here in VCT Americas. Our first match, Furia versus Leviatán. Two teams incredibly familiar with one another. Two teams that are both suffering the same issue throughout the season. A high point to a low. Need to turn it around here and now, but only one can win, Mimi.
They've been on this downward trend both, but this is the opportunity for one of them to turn things around, to have a chance to face off against Loud and start to push towards Tokyo. Both these squads came in with some of the highest expectations in Americas, and in playoffs, this is the chance to see those renewed.
It's all about breaking the patterns from the regular season for both teams. And I think now that we have the playoffs starting, that gives them the opportunity for that renewal. It gives them that opportunity to really feel energized to go for Tokyo. And across the stage, they know that their opponents are feeling the exact same way. So this is definitely going to be a super, super important game for both sides, obviously, as it's one step closer to Tokyo. But with the fact that they're rivals, I think also...
The fact that they're rivals, they've both been on a slump. It really is a story that sets itself up. It's also wild, too, that they're rivals finding themselves facing off against each other in the playoffs. It wasn't planned this way, just so everyone at home is aware of this. It's just how the seedings worked out, and then the winner of this just so happens to face off against
all the South American teams.
So cruel. But yeah, I mean, overall though, Mimi, it's both these teams running parallel to one another, and it makes sense that they're on a collision course here at playoffs.
And I'm really interested what Coach Owner is saying to his team right now in that huddle. What is the strategy? Is it returning to what's worked in the past, the structure that this team is known for, but that has been exploited throughout VCT Americas? Or is it trying to find something new, changing it up, breaking that cycle, as you said?
All right, map select's coming up here in a moment, Bala. We'll see what we end up getting.
Yeah, I think the very important thing is I talked about how strong Haven was for Furia. I think Leviatán has a big opportunity to switch their perma, or their ban, their first ban, from Fracture, which it has been all season long, to Haven. And I think and it is Haven. And I think that's actually crazy because I was not expecting that, because this team constantly just sticks with their permaban throughout every single iteration of this roster, throughout last year and this year.
Maybe that's our first hint that they are going to change things up. Furia, though, will pick onto a strong point for them. The Heineken 0.0 Icebox. This is how the series ended. Or excuse me. This is how the series ended, though, last time these two teams played. It was an incredible comeback on the defensive side by Furia to steal it away. This used to be the home map for Leviatán, but right now they're 0-4 on it.
Yeah, that's a big, at least the only pickup that Furia could go for. And actually, I think now that I've seen these first two maps, and the fact that Leviatán go for that switch up of banning Haven instead of Fracture, Furia is actually going to ban Fracture. I think Leviatán is coming out to a roaring start in this map veto and getting an advantage despite Ascent kind of losing favor for them.
Yeah, that Pearl pick I think will be really good for Leviatán as well. They look like the best team in the league on that one. And Bind as well, going to be real interesting. Leviatán's been floating it. They would have played it against Cloud9 if they had gotten there, but they're yet to show it yet. Whereas Furia right now has come out twice with this double duelist and hasn't found success either time despite very close games.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. Furia against NRG.
Do you think we get there?
So good. I think we have a less chance of getting there now after I saw the veto than before, but I still think this is going to be a very close series.
I think the series relies on how Leviatán have worked on their Ascent because they've been struggling so much, particularly at these attacking sides. And they're going to start on defense where they're stronger, where Taco can get a strong start into this game.
Get him
moving. I think it'd be good for them.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting any changes. Both these teams have been bog standard meta for so long on this one.
Cowards.
Absolutely the most standard. I think breaking the pattern for King, for example, and Mazzino, who are like this 1-2 combo on A main on defense so often, because I think the big thing, despite the fact that Furia had that big comeback, the defensive sides were good for both teams. Loud just rolled over Leviatán when Leviatán was playing defense. On a set, that's not acceptable.
This is the map to set the pace, to see what the style has been decided upon for Leviatán, and to see if Furia can rebuild that confidence after a tough end to the season.
All right, well, I'm telling you what, guys, this matchup has all the recipes for a classic. We'll see how this one plays out, and we're going to send it over to our casters to describe him in one word: bonkers. It's Brendan's Sideshow.
Thank you very much, Cheapy. Yeah, probably going to need a thesaurus, I think, at the end of today as well. I mean, listen, that word's being used a little bit too much. But let's get into it here. Match number one of our playoffs in the Americas, and all the importance in this one, Josh. Never before, really, in VCT history have we had the stakes set so highly, where a top 3 finish will grant you access to not only Masters, but also Champs.
Yeah, that is truly everything on the line. These next few matches that these teams face will define their entire year. And that is a crazy spot for these two teams to be in, because both squads came out to a roaring start at the beginning of Americas, and now they've barely slunk into playoffs with their tails between their legs. And I think the question at the end of this is really, who is going to rise to the challenge and who's going to be defined by that fall down the standings?
That fall from grace. There's ever a time to pick it up, it would be now. Furia setting themselves up now. A big clash about to occur. It's Nozwa who's going to have to hold this one off. Dart. Dash as well, forwards into the smoke here. Digizine, he's weakened, yet still takes the fight. Lucky not to go down as well. There's a bit of a spray through with the frenzy. Shy, again falling so damn low, but the rest of his team now reinforcing themselves.
Furia running Leviatán's attack pistol round against them.
That's quite interesting. Now they start to barrel through now. What can they make do with? Fragment nade over the top. It's going to be clearing out the bottom of it. Dashing aside with the paranoia. There's a turret in their face.
That was another Furia
players. Yep, Team Paranoia blinding all of them. A bit of miscommunication potentially. King, he's out in the open. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to stand. Furia taking the opening pistol round.
So much interesting stuff to talk about there. Like I said, Furia taking Leviatán's attacking pistol round, using it on themselves. When Lev played actually up against Cloud9 and Loud in these kind of spots, that tree gap in their defense was something that Sean was talking about quite a lot. They really do have a gap in that spot with their defensive setups in general. That's a really rough start. When these two teams clashed in the regular season, there were only 4 rounds won on the attack side of Ascent. It was so defense-sided. 3 of those were from Furia. So to be able to pick up an attacking pistol round there, we don't know exactly whether this is going to be a replica of their regular season performance, but bodes very well for this Furia side.
Digizine setting himself up, I believe, for the dash towards the side there into lane. Smoke for cover for now. 2 players sitting, anchoring towards the back. Shorty's in their hands. Anything could happen in this moment. Taking a fight here, never really advised. You got to swing this one with a bit of confidence. Shy's doing the most though. Swarming themselves onto the side. Remaining. 1 player left standing, Mazzino. Long range upgrade with the classic now in his hands, but not the greatest gun for the job at hand still. VCT low enough that a single shot to the head would bring him down. He's found an opening. He's found more than that, and potentially a chance around the box. Target acquired, but just can't land the shots in time. Beautiful effort, though, nevertheless.
It's a good try, and actually gives you a lot of hope that Mazzino's going to bring his A game to this match. Mazzino's been one of the most flip-floppy players that Leviatán have. At the start, it looked like he'd picked up that smokes roll perfectly, immediately. And then when they lose, he just ends up getting pummeled into the dust. Furia have been phenomenal at bonus rounds. This one, they have very little weaponry because of all the damage that Mazzino did. Can Furia convert? It just looks like it's going to be pacey through B. It's on Shy and Nozwa to hold on here.
Against this, they might be finding it quite a struggle. We'll see though. One-way smoke, dash over the top.
Great read.
Yeah, great read. Shy just watching the angle as well, anticipating it.
And it's a recon dart that comes out from Nozwa. He soaks up a ton of damage, but he makes sure that the rest of Furia cannot follow up on Digizine. That's a nice adaptation. It shows you that Shy is extremely aware of Digizine's normal pathing, and this is unusual from Mazzino. They do not normally have this level of aggression on their defense side. Some might say it's inadvisable when you're at such an eco advantage.
Oh, and a deep pushed up position.
But this is definitely throwing a different look into things.
Oh, wait, anticipating it? Maybe hearing a sound cue or signal of the likes. The cleanup, it's easy, isn't it? Khalil, the last one standing. The bonus round of Furia.
Cover going out.
All but secured now for Lev. It'll have to be huge. It's not going to be. Flawless, keeping all the guns.
Good halt to the momentum there. And like you said, all solid in terms of economy too. It allows that to grow, develop. We're expecting this to be a very defense-sided map, but it does come down to the reads that people have, or both of the IGLs have got on their opponents. You can see here they're very ready for Digizine. I think playoffs is the time to reinvent yourself. If you're a team, either of these teams, that's been struggling, but especially Leviatán, who've just been doing the same stuff all season, playoffs are the time to reinvent. Go for something different in the map veto. Throw something different out on your defense side.
Just to showcase those different looks. Now, beginning of this round, Looked like it was gearing up for another bit of a B pop, but it's slowed down. The main control being gained.
They've thrown the mid utility with the recon dart and the 0 point. So Taco's worried that they could be in that spot. The alarm bot's still there, though.
Shock dart close to lane. They want to try and burst through this now with the drone on top of it. A dash forwards, the front of the side at least being gained for now. Dart as well revealing it. Close angles, no watch though. Nozwa holding it down. A wider swing, a wider face from the two players. GCK, Khalil. Decent amount of work being put in. Nazim brought back up to his feet as well with two players that are standing for Lev. In this scenario, they've got money, but it's a 2v5, not really going to be winnable. In most circumstances, you see them save here.
Yeah, Leviatán are the team that saves the most out of basically any squad I've ever seen play Valorant. Just looking to get that benefit out of their economy more so than trying to send it in a 2v5. That round was interesting from Leviatán. They had 3 players on the B side, but it didn't look like they were anticipating Mazin's null command. It really took all of the tools they had out of their hands.
Yeah, when you
to be able to respond.
When you hard anchor at the back of the side like that, usually you want to alter your setup a little bit to at least be playing full retake or holding, you know, was it Shy who was playing it towards the back of the side?
Yeah, Shy was playing stairs and then ended up having just to drop back. Alarm bot deactivated, you know, the stuff that he's got towards the choke point there, not really having the same level of impact too. You can see the nanoswarm that he placed over by Tree. So, you know, he's playing on the opposite side of some of his utility too. But they're gambling that that 3-player stack is going to be enough to hold on. And it simply wasn't. This match, and especially all of the playoffs rematches that we have, Brett, are going to be battles of adaptation.
Yeah.
And I think that's particularly interesting when it comes to this Leviatán squad, because Owner in interviews has talked about the fact that in his timeouts and stuff, he doesn't have as much strategic input perhaps as other coaches, saying that 90% of Leviatán's strategy is set kind of before the match even happens. And he's also followed up by saying, Owner, that he doesn't believe in anti-stratting that much, because he wants the team to be focused on their game, not their opponents. That's so counter to the other team's approaches.
Very counter. Those teams going into a lot of the matches, the meta being defined by the fact that you can watch the VODs week on week in this long season format. Yeah. So yeah,
I would say if there was a meta in Americas right now, it would be the anti-strat meta.
Yeah.
It's not as much defined by the agents. So we see Dujazine going down early there, challenging towards Mazzino and King. A lot of the time, Mazzino and King are just going to throw that one way and not actually have any presence behind it. But Dujazine gambles incorrectly here in round 5. And puts his team down in a 4v5. That has not been too much of a problem, though, for Furia. They've been good in these spots.
Starte's contact. The Shy want to fight now. Backs away. Footsteps being made, so going to be getting some information that there isn't really potentially that committal into B main.
They haven't forced out King's nade. King is holding nade here, waiting for cat pressure.
As soon as he hears the smoke go off.
And he can repop with a flash after breaking this drone.
Here we go, drone in his face though, suppressed. No util to be used, the angle to the side of the smoke, Taco.
30 seconds
No
left.
blind fire. It's set up to try and support the rest of his team so they can't be pushed onto that angle. Let's give it a hot drop up King. And this angle with 3 kills. Absolutely ludicrous. Khalil though still alive and maybe a return to the beginning of the season. That form that he looked like, but he's got so much more to do on top of that. 1 versus 3, Shock Dash bringing him low. There it is, it will finish him off. Plant money in the back pocket. But a round win for Lev.
What a performance from King. There's never been any question all year, and before that as well, in 2022. He's a top player. He is an elite talent. The question in recent times has been more about, has he got the depth in terms of his IGLing and adapting to be able to take his team across the line in these difficult spots? But in terms of his heroics individually, he has just been world class all year. And he shows you why just there.
Yeah, holding it down at the back of Jenny there, putting his team on his back. Maybe stopping this early round lead. Furia running away with to a degree, but it's still going to be guns versus guns, full buying up. Half armor as well in Furia, so they can keep that money rolling as well. Popularized by, it was initially NRG way back in the day.
Yeah, very different NRG.
Fnatic were winning with it, which is the difference. That's why people credit them with it, so.
For sure, for sure. Nozwa threw a recon dart early towards tiles here that threatens that spam play. The set play that Lev is so known for. It slowed down Furia, and now they take market.
Dodge.
Shy dodges.
Yeah, flash was dodged, but he just can't land a shot. Taco reactions. Nails a shot, back of the site, needs to be concerned. But so slightly, he's hearing these ults get popped off on either side. It's adding a bit of confusion into the fray. The rest of mid, though, is also being pressured. It's a slow walk up. Both angles need to be watched for. LEV are very aware now that they have lost control of the middle of the map.
What a one-tap!
And losing control of the fights. On top of it, the duel's being won out. Furia just barreling their way through, carving a path in either direction they could go in, but instead circling back right into Tacolia. It's the angle watched down with the operator, only the one before traded, and now it should just be a clinical task, getting the spike down. No one to stop it.
That's fantastic. Talk about throwing something new in your attack side, specifically for playoffs. That's a beautiful idea. You can't run it too often in your attack half, but when you think about how these two teams should stylistically face off, any new idea that you can throw out, use it here.
Yeah.
Don't wait for your defense side. So I love that from Furia, the way that they carve their path all the way down mid, and then instead of going into some kind of classic market or catwalk pivot, they go and challenge Mazzino and Nozra in spawn.
It's a very different look.
And the shots hit are also
the one the duels.
Very nice.
Obstacle removed.
That's what it comes down to sometimes. You know, this is a shooting game, Brent.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. You're watching Pearl, you're seeing the double walls coming up. They are still shooting, but can't quite see what they're shooting at still. It's nice when it does reflect it. Attack FPS genre. This is looking good for Furia. 4-2, attack side of Ascent. You can see why they've selected this map early on in our first playoff match here of the Americas.
And Bala was talking about it a little bit on the desk, but this used to be home ground territory for Leviatán. It used to be the best map that they had in their pool. Now probably Pearl, which is what's coming up next. But they have really lost their edge on this map. Partly because teams are able to read what they're doing. And partly because they're just missing that evolution, the next step. Taco, though, takes his up over the catwalk. We don't see this defensive setup too often.
Oh, here's the updraft. Dash activated. Wide jump. Gets good information.
And now as he leaves Cat, King goes to pick it back up, so they go into their usual defensive setup. But it just had a bit of flair in the first 20 seconds.
Shy normally playing deep onto the side, tucked away. Even the smoke as well to really sell this. Off-angle position. Cleared. Ever so slightly. Only the 1-for-1 though traded. Not going to be favorable actually. Now all that Killjoy utility that was otherwise going to be delaying this is taken out and removed. Hunter's Fury now forced through. That's NW just trying to make the most of it with the ultimate. Clearing some pathways into the back of the site, but avoid and dodge for now. Nozwa. It's up to him, anchoring towards it. Taco supporting him. Going wide here with the shots onto it. Still onto lane. NW and Khalil alive in the fight. Low on HP, Khalil, a single shot. We're doing a shot down. Narrowly dodging, avoiding. This way, that way, spikes drop down. 35 seconds remaining. Tap down, NW. That is ludicrous.
So close, so much pressure piled into Nozwa there. Leviatán almost saved it. King threw his null command in there, and all Taco needed to do was get a kill with the Bladestorm.
Yeah.
There's no abilities on the other side. Taco's in a position where he can win the round for his team, and yet finds no value. And leaves Nozwa scared and alone in backside, facing a 2v1. With players who, you know, could have maybe even just run to A at that point. Could have kept it completely out of his hands. Rough spot, but a similar story that we've seen many times from Taco this year. He's got to find his form in playoffs.
I have to see that step up. This map is getting out of hand. Oh. Clear line of sight angle off of the updraft.
I think you're right, Brent. At this point, the map may be out of hand for Leviatán. 5 rounds already from Furia with no signs of slowing down. A lockdown to work with, too. This is a blazing start.
Yeah. They can keep it going. Keep it rolling. The ult cycling into round wins. The economy flourishing on their side. Partly down to the half armor that they've been utilizing as well. Just saving all those credits up. And now it's a sneaky play. Bit of pressure towards mid. Taking fights early, but now working their way towards B. Clearly, they feel like this is exploitable. Lockdown now going to be placed down.
Any counter from Shy? Any break
from Hunter's Fury? Yeah, he could end up utilizing this one. Nano Swarm, Fragment Nade. No one able to push through this one onto the smoke, trying to get themselves into the back of the site. Fury are really struggling here. Bogged down a little bit, but eventually making their way towards it.
So what are these ultimates for Leviatán? How are they going to get value out of the lockdown, the Hunter's Fury?
Oh, now you're seeing it. Hunter's Fury is going to be used. Let rip right into the back of the side. A bit of damage. 80 done. Still, it's QCK. Close corner, not cleared out. A late lurk from Mazine. All he has to do now is stay alive, and he's doing his job. Preventing that backstab attempt of Noswell, who's also trying to work in, but there's an opening. Surely, Lev, they have to jump on this.
Lockdown?
So many, the lockdown being utilized in this scenario. It's left it into 2-on-2. There's no time to make advantage and take advantage of this, but it can't be broken. Mazine, pushing forward. Mazine! What are you playing at? Shy just has to stick that, and that is a cacophony of errors.
With so many tools for both sides to work with, the round descended into anarchy.
I'll shut them down. Until then,
But it was Leviatán that somehow managed to keep their cool. The retake attempt, throwing the lockdown into, what was that, a 3v4, 3v5 situation? They were definitely disadvantaged, had no position on the site after QCK had already taken out 2 at market. That is a gift for Leviatán to take.
They have been handed a lifeline there.
And I think this makes a perfect time for either team to take a timeout. And it's going to be Leviatán's. That might seem a little strange because they just won the round, but that one was scrappy, chaotic on both sides. And like we had just said earlier, Leviatán might already be at the point where this map is unsalvageable. That sounds crazy to say, 8 rounds in. But when you've allowed Furia to get 5 up on you on the attack side, sorry, it's going to be a long and very difficult road back into this map.
So it's Owner who hit the button with a timeout, possibly after what he was witnessing in that prior round as well. You have to queue it up.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say, Brent, I do think Leviatán are approaching this quite differently. They're trying to be much more aggressive on the extremities of the map. We've seen Shy play in B main, Mazzino walk out into Gelato. You know, they've tried some different stuff. It hasn't been particularly successful, but they've at least been trying something different. And that's been a major point of criticism for Leviatán on these kind of maps.
gifted a bit of a reset with all the ultimates being invested. Guns on either side now. Important round for Lev to try and take away to just make it a respectable half.
Mazzino slipping forward.
Oh, Paranoia clears him close as well as a dash. King covers. His teammate's back, watching for it.
Opportunistic from Dejazine, but gets punished.
Yeah, almost immediately, and that's that fast rotation. Taco is clear on the heaven angle. Mazzino also TPing all the way back here. They're assuming defensive positions, but Furia want nothing to do with it. Losing that player advantage. They're already starting to relocate, push up somewhere else. QCK. Deep position, drone. That's a half clearance. That's a half clearance. Half clearance, but they've got the layers to it.
Again, King is the one that has to fill the gap.
He does so. Listen, not the most precise shots in the world. It's a spray that does it, but now he still holds it for his team. Dart broken. 45 seconds.
And 4 players over here. They've read this rotate really nicely. As soon as you lose Dejazine and you don't have the dash, it becomes impossible for you to A main repop. So a lot of teams are going to go for an A split after losing their jet or losing their dash even early in the round.
And Fury at this point, they just need to save.
30 seconds left.
I don't think they will.
They are not good for the ball.
They are not a team that likes to save, bro.
Well, they're going to be taking a contact play into it with 20 seconds left. The stack still active here for Lev. Made the right call with it. The only thing you can do is just contact push into it, and King's ready. He's holding this off angle. It's intelligent. He just knows how Fury are going to be playing it. And now you are forced to save.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, they will take it in the 2v5.
One suppressed.
This is a huge one to keep building up Leviatán's economy. And King, with so many kills, is going to get closer and closer to the null command, which could be very useful for him to try and get this ball rolling and some momentum started. It's been very stop-start from Leviatán on the defense.
That's huge. Money wasn't looking too hot for Furia just before we went into the replay, so I imagine they're going to be having a discussion of what they want to do, either forcing it around those guns or just taking the save.
This round, though, it really is King just making up for the mistakes that the rest of his team are making.
Yeah, just the gaps there, but...
And that's not a common role for an IGL to be taking. That's a common role for a star player.
But he's sitting at the top, 10 and 5.
Yeah, they are one and the same on Lev.
Furia not opting to invest around the rest of those guns, which I think is the right call to make. Still danger in it though, and they've got the rifles, and they're taking that mid presence, mid control. So flash play, market is going to be theirs. Deep back angle, Shy. I mean, he's not holding that particularly too well with the crosshair placement. He's going to get pushed all the way into the back of the site now. Digizine still with a dash. They know a player is in spawn. King around the side. QCK is also looking for his timing. Timings on the timings. Who can take the better one? Might come down to just a coin flip, but King's so aware of all the presence. Shocked out in the back though with the prior damage done. Shy, he's weakened, and they're barreling over Nozwa. There's the last line of defense ready to try and anchor this one, but they want to try and flood in. Taco, he's eager to take a fight. He's shut down in the process of it. Not able to get anything going. Every angle watched for, every moment covered, and that's Furia with minor investments around their guns, still taking around the way.
The success that Furia have had over on this B site, they are just barreling over Shy and Nozwa. They can't hold on. The protocol from Leviatán to drop Shy and Nozwa both into backside, and with how late King ends up rotating because he plays super heavy towards Catwalk, and he's worried about them pivoting back. I think Furia have very heavily identified a different weak point. We saw Loud hammering Tree over and over against Leviatán. Furia, apart from the pistol, have not really gone there. It's been all the success in B main. Just putting the squeeze on those two B anchors.
Yeah. This is a prime setup, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the cannon dart that's designed to put pressure on people close, like King.
It's forced out, at least that no command, but already look at that gap being exploited towards.
But MW lost his ult.
Grass and Tree, yeah. MW did lose his ult in the process. The drone doesn't clear it again.
Not again.
Way, Nozwa, you gotta clear that. Corner not being watched for. And all the positioning. King is gonna try and hold it down, but he's corralled. Scurrying into the corner, 45 health. Nanoswarm, they know where he is. It's watched with the rifles. One shot to the chest, enough to bring him down.
Spike planted.
A 4v2 with Taco on the flank. And at this point, Lev, they have to commit. It's round 11.
2 more chances. You have to try and pull this one off. No one watching that one. Dice was open for a second. The reposition, though, they want to hide from Taco's operator. Furia are leaving gaps. And maybe you're starting to see it. The explosiveness that we witnessed earlier on in the season by a team like LEV, but MW shuts it down. Can Taco still make the most of it? Set them up. Shot to the side. Needs a rifle, though. Better gun for the job. Spike not planted for him. Right to the side. It's the Digizine at Dice. That was getting scary. It was getting really difficult, but narrowly avoiding a defeat in that round.
Could have been a Taco moment. Could have been the moment that really launches him into finding his form again for playoffs. Alas, not to be. Furia takes 7, and this is an extraordinarily good attack side. Just after Brent, I had said they're not putting as much pressure as Loud did towards Tree. That's exactly where Digizine went. And he dodged the drone once more. Do we even call it a dodge? It's just Nozwa not clearing these positions.
Not clearing the corners, yeah. Final round now of the first half. No. Yoded spray. The util, it's sent flying. Darts lining up every single player. Digizine moving down to the side. No way! Adjustments are made and 2 kills collected. Cracked open towards the back of the site. Just needs his team to get in there and get the spike planted. The post-plant positioning. It's not ideal. They don't have any B main control, but the player advantage should sail them through this.
Again, Shy and Nozwa utterly bullied, and the rest of Leviatán left to try and pick up the pieces.
Spamming the common positions. It's a 3v5. Got to try and put in some work. Paranoia, it's cut its way across. Angles, watch. Last player standing is king. Dart lights him up. Spam damage from every single line of sight. That's 8-4. And Furia, my God, they've done their homework and more. They turned up to this map looking on fire.
This is the start you need heading into playoffs for a team that lost out so many times in 1-2 fashion towards the end of the season. I said, which of these 2 teams that have slumped their way into playoffs, which is going to end the match growling and which is going to be sent cowering? And so far, Furia, they just look so much better prepared. The game plan and these individual moments, it's all coming together.
Well, earlier we sat down with King to get his thoughts about taking on Furia once again. Let's take it out. Let's take a look.
Sigo de la misma manera, somos dos equipos que nos conocemos bastante. Más encima también está la historia, el background de Noswer, que jugó con todos los jugadores de Furia, así que también ahí está como ese choque. Y nada, son un equipo muy bueno, con jugadores individualmente, creo que me atrevo a decir que todos son demasiado buenos. Y nada, creo que eso es un punto muy fuerte de Furia, es que individualmente son... hay que estar lo más fino posible para que todo salga bien. Y eso, acompañado obviamente de su juego, de su estructura, que es un equipo muy agresivo. Nada, un equipo que siempre nos ha gustado jugar en contra porque ya nos conocemos bastante.
King making note, you know, he likes to play against Furia. They feel comfortable playing against them, but so far it feels like the shoe's on the other foot almost. Furia with a great read, throwing new ideas into this. That's the danger of a team like them, because individually, I mean, King was singing their praises. He said that they're a very strong team individually, but when they add that extra level to it with the preparation, the game plans, that's when they look downright scary.
I would completely agree. And he also highlighted Noswer and the history that he's had with Furia in the past. He used to IGL for Furia, and now coming into this team, he's, you know, given that responsibility up to King. He actually talked on the LATAM broadcast, Noswer, about how he wanted to bring more anti-stratting to Leviatán, like he'd done with Furia as the IGL in the past. I haven't really seen any evidence of that happening at all. Instead, you're right. It's Furia that have come into this game with all the good ideas of how to crack LEV. And of course, Leviatán's focus is not necessarily going to be on Ascent. It's one of the maps that they could have banned to start out here, since they floated their permaban of Fracture. They're hoping to win really on the second and third maps. But a pistol round would be a good start. Maybe get something back into this game. It is going to be a torturously long road, though, if they want to try and win on Ascent.
Oh, it's going to be hard. Look at that, all the way through. B main, just disrespecting. Shy, the dash across the cut across. Watch for, spam onto it. King falls early. He's been the guiding light for his team, and with him removed, how will this round be switched up? How will it change? Flank's got to be watched. Onto the side, Digitine just holds it. Shy, a wider swing. Looking like he wanted to try and take the fight to them, and that's exactly what Taka was thinking. Pushing into his own smoke, but he's just being peppered with bullets, weakened this way, that way, flashed up to the side once more. The crossfires, the retakes, it's too good, it's sublime.
4 players left standing. And this looks like it's going to be a very quick map one. A pistol round secured by Furia on both sides of the map. They were a team at the start of the year who looked really excellent in pistols. Since then, actually, they've dropped off a lot. And that might be partly why they've lost so many of those close games towards the end of the season. Obviously, pistol rounds have a large impact. But we find ourselves here entering the playoffs with Leviatán actually being the second best team in playoffs at pistols. Not showcased here in any degree.
Usually one of their major strengths, but yeah, not showcased. Losing both of them. Horrible start to map number 1, but not their map pick, despite it being one of the previous strengths of the team. And again, deep smoke down, Taco. He's contacting through it. Oh. Almost gifted a chance, almost gifted an opportunity, but it's met. Pound to pound of the utility, fragment nade. Just narrowly dodged, Taco onto the box. Gets out of there. Shockdar was almost claiming his life in a round, so it's 4 for 4. Players are weak, though.
Fury has given up a lot of space here on the map. It looks like they want to go for an info peek. Mazzino could be ready to punish this.
Feels risky.
Not with only a sheriff in hand.
Yeah, with both of them there. Bulldogs as well. It's surely enough.
Spike down mid.
Given enough leeway for the shots here. Another little flank retake. That's Taco.
But that does not compute.
He attempted a backstab, but 3 players surviving. Keeping the guns as well. Bulldog and Guardian. Furia looking primed to take map number 1.
And again, they are fantastic in terms of their bonus rounds too. Furia have been able to chain pistol wins into bonus wins incredibly well. So that's another opportunity for them to close this one out emphatically on map 1.
Turret out.
taking a look at what Leviatán have got planned here. 5 players grouped up in tiles. They don't go for too many of these straight up B hits, but when they do, they're explosive. King unloading utility. Taco updraft dashing into sight. This time, much slower. Contacting B main.
Much slower. Breaking the turret, walking. Avoiding a lot of those sound cues. Flash. Drops down there. Seen unleashing the second one. Close to the corner, that's QCK.
He read that so well.
He really did. As soon as the smoke was dropped down close to the corner, he plays inside of it immediately.
Getting crazy good value as well out of the Spectre.
Ferrying away the guns, they don't want to give those rifles. Dropping it back.
But they're also just making so much
all the noise in the world.
Everybody on Furia knows where everybody on Leviatán is currently.
Drone re-clear. Spotted the Jazine. Crouched down. You gotta know he's got enough money for the operator, so that's information. But playing around this one, it's a 4v5.
Here.
2 different attempts as well. Stack from Furia. They think it's going to be a re-hit into B. Spike as well. Looked like it was leaning towards A. Now going back into mid.
Yeah, Leviatán have tons of options. This round does not feel like they quite know what they're up to, but King, the IGL, playing over in A main, is telling his team to come and meet them. This one's for the A site. What do they have to clear? Through a tree? Not much, but that's fine because there's no one there.
Yeah. Paranoia's there. Time running short though. 12 seconds into the round. Moving forward, Paranoia buys a bit extra. Space gain, still alive. Still in the fight, still kicking! Flick to the side. Mazzino gonna regret taking that one. Still, Spike is planted. Do have some of the guns, but this is gonna be the retake into it. Fury have looked good in this capacity. Door needs to be broken. Knives on knives. What's the call to be made?
They're waiting for Mazine. Look at him in gelato right now. Coming to take A main control.
Yeah, that's going to be the cue. Dart there. Shot lands though. Zine on it. Quick scope! Pure prediction. Shy onto the angle he's brought down. Crumbling to his knees. Furia are looking just monstrous. What a player Zine is.
The whole team is so comfortable right now. Laughs, smiles. You would not think that this is the first game of playoffs. A reminder that these are the most important matches for this team's entire year. You end up winning a couple of these. Not only do you qualify for Tokyo, you also qualify for champs, guaranteed at the end of the year. You make that top 3, that is your reward.
And so yeah, it's a massive deal. Playoffs here in America is deciding so much. Your entire season pivoting on these opening matches. What a way to begin.
Leviatán clearly do have some different stuff planned for their attack side. They're running a different default here with 3 into B main. The question is, has it all just been far too late for them to reinvent the playbook? They're already down 11-4. Hunter's Fury online for Nosworth. In the past, they've pretty much always taken this on an A split. And now joining down mid, just looking to push the Jazine away.
Ooh. Well, re-peek attempt there. Mazzino ends up falling to the deep default. Mazzino on top of the box. Nice line of sight angle. It's a common enough position that the Omens like to play these days, but it's opened themselves up to a 2-player advantage, and that's exactly what they were hoping for.
They're expecting another re-push out of B main.
I got the
King's
spot coming
read
back.
on Furia right now is that they are simply going to push everything at all times.
It's very much the opposite. A call is made to stack towards the A site.
But that's going to clear the path for Leviatán.
Yeah. It's going to be easy access to the site. Granted for them.
And
30
so
seconds left.
here you really do still have to ask the question. If Leviatán have rebuilt their attack side playbook and reinvented themselves for playoffs, have they got access to that a little too late, perhaps? This comeback just seems mountainous.
Yeah,
Good luck. Almost impossible, specifically on Ascent. Because Furia are only 2 rounds away from winning this map. And it's about 60% defense-sided right now.
It's the most defense-sided map that we've got currently in the pool.
Right.
So just to put that into context.
And again, the last time these two teams played, only 4 rounds were won combined on attack.
Yeah.
So, you know, both of these teams know what they're doing on defense, usually. Not that that worked for Leviatán in the first half.
We'll find out. MW. He's got almost 4K built up in the bank. His goal, take away these guns, take the fights towards him. Very quirky movement, back and forth, jiggling it. Dropped a rifle down as well, but looking to see if they can take out any more of these players. Khalil, the ADS, has to respect it though, backing away. Everyone grouped up, side by side. Just spamming the bullets as well, down into the smoke. So, Lev, gotta take this one round at a time, focusing on that. You were handed these picks at the beginning. That re-clear, wasn't any util to push off the back of that one.
But also, not just handed those picks, but they baited those pushes out of the defense side. They ran 3 players at B main at the start. That forces, or not forces, but incentivizes the A players to take some space on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah.
And Shy punished that. And then you know Dejazine is super aggressive, so he's gonna be re-peeking after that drone fades away. I think you're seeing just a moment there, ideas of countering opponents' tendencies. Stuff that's been missing from the LEV game plan.
Yeah.
But now, this classic A-split maneuver. I've seen King call this many, many times. A Furia ready?
Mazine. Oh, he spots the gun, doesn't win the battle. That's Taco. Updraft dash. Already making his way all the way through. Backside of Jenny Khalil. He's here. He's holding for the swing from Switch. And Taco gambles incorrectly. The shorty was pulled out. He thought it was going to be a close corner angle that was watched for. The fight's being taken on every area of the map. Respect being showcased.
But King prevails.
Yeah. Wins his one out. So 4-on-4. Oh, 3v3. Spikes planted. Lockdown available. This is out the site. Ult. Under Furia. It's going to be taking that one out. But Furia not wasting their time, their chance, their opportunity. And they know where Nozra is. Ultin from main. He's lit up. The Nana Swarm. He cannot swing. He cannot fight. He cannot push them back. Furia set themselves up to map point.
Match point.
Very decisive retake there from Furia. Leviatán, they're clearly thinking a couple of steps ahead there. They want Nozra to be playing in a spot where he can break the lockdown. But it also meant he wasn't on site with the rest of the team. And Furia, when they play at their best, Furia embody that decisive, aggressive nature, where they're going to immediately take advantage of the fact that they're in a 3v2 due to that ult situation. This is Furia playing an excellent game.
One
Off
step
battle
away.
here at B main.
Here we go. Oh, the flash to set it up. Dejazine. He strikes. And Takalia is out of the map. No way to bring him back here. 12-5, looking at the cusp of it. I've sent flying straight into Timmy. What did he do to deserve that?
And here's King on desperation.
He has to take a risk, doesn't he? Walks up through the smoke, removes the drone early enough. Furia are going to be thinking, okay, well, how much more of mid have they actually taken here? But need an opening.
There's an alarm bot here, and Dejazine's playing in front of it.
Oh, and it's just fallen to pieces. Lev make the call here. Exploration everywhere. Risks, of course, taken. Trying to make the most of it. Trying to hunt for anything to equalize, but at this point, every player being whittled away. King and Nozra left standing 12-5 on the brink. Last one left. That's just King, but it's just done. Spat onto the corner. Confidence is boundless. And Furia strolling away. A jaunt in the park is what map 1 feels like. They take it.
That shows you they had a really good game plan there for Ascent. The map veto works perfectly for them. They tackle something that, while it was a strength in the past for Leviatán, has just looked like more and more and more of a weakness. And sure, we saw some slightly different things, but not enough yet to give you any confidence that Leviatán are going to be back to where they were in the past. Coming up, 2 really good maps for them. Pearl, oh well, at least 1 good map for them. Pearl seems excellent to me, should be Leviatán sided. And then Bind, they've been hiding and floating. We have no idea what they're going to be running there. So in theory, that should set us up for an awesome map 3, but the question is, can we even get to that point? Furia individually look like they're popping.
They're firing every player individually, performing so damn well. The reads are correct. You can see why they picked Ascent. Great idea of how to play the map. The gaps in the defensive protocols being exploited all map long. And when Dejazine is hitting shots like that, I mean, What a difficult task to stand up to it. We're stepping away for just a bit, but GB and the analyst desk are going to break down map number 1 and set us up for the rest of the series. Don't go anywhere.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.